Podcast on a Monday after one of the darkest weekends in the Carlton Football Club's history. I'll get to that in just a moment, but don't forget, you can stay in touch with the podcast at any time. Head to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search the Hately Stand End podcast. Now, I've been reflecting over the weekend, reflecting on the events of Thursday night with Elijah Hollands. My emotions have oscillated. First, disappointment, then sadness in the direct aftermath to the Collingwood game, and then anger. So I thought I'd wait until today to share my thoughts about the Elijah Hollands situation. But that anger hasn't subsided. I'm still angry at the Carlton Football Club. Just over 2 hours ago at 7:30 p.m. on this Monday evening, the Carlton Football Club released a statement regarding Elijah Hollands, and it reads, and I quote, "The Carlton Football Club can confirm that Elijah Hollands has been admitted to hospital this evening. While the club acknowledges the public interest, it again asks that the privacy of Elijah and his family be respected. This request for privacy extends to the media to please not report or speculate on Hollands' location and private health information." End quote. Elijah has every right to his privacy, and that must be respected. And the most important thing in this situation is Elijah's welfare and well-being. I know I am behind Elijah, and so is the wider Carlton community, and also the football community is behind Elijah. And we will support Elijah every step of the way through this difficult period. In saying that, this does not absolve the club from answering questions about the situation. There are valid questions to be asked of the Carlton Football Club as we sit here tonight. This situation has the potential to leave one of the greatest stains on the club in its history. You'd have to go back to the end of 2002 when the salary cap scandal exploded to find such a dark time in its history. Albeit different circumstances, this one involving the well-being of one of our own, which is mightily important. The Carlton media team, they did the right thing. They put CEO Graham Wright up to the press pack on Sunday morning. President Robert Priestley emailed members shortly before the press conference. He probably should have also been in attendance, but it's a little hard given he's based in Sydney. At the press conference, Wright was unable to rule out the use of alcohol. Wright was asked if he'd spoken to any Collingwood players who by Sunday, there were murmurings that Pies players believed something was not quite right on a Thursday night. On Monday, that chatter was confirmed when Collingwood's Braden Maynard revealed he was aware his teammates had been discussing Elijah Hollands' behaviour throughout the game. I find it staggering, absolutely staggering, that Graham Wright didn't make speaking to Collingwood players a priority post-Thursday night. Surely, when you are conducting an investigation, you interview and seek information from absolutely everywhere possible. And that includes what Collingwood players may or may not have noticed or heard out on the ground. At this point in time, the Carlton Football Club are answerable to many questions. Those questions are, if, as Graham Wright conceded in his press conference, that there'd been concerns for Hollands as he was struggling during the week, why did the club pick him to play in the first place? Did any member of the coaching staff or support staff notice anything unusual about Elijah's behaviour pre-game? By half-time, it was already evident something was not right. Elijah hadn't had a touch. From a coaching point of view, how was this glossed over and ignored? By three-quarter time, Elijah still hadn't touched the football. Purely from a coaching and form point of view, why did the coaching staff leave a player on the field who was not contributing? From a welfare point of view, the videos on field had started to surface on social media during the third term. How and why did nobody within the club begin to flag these and raise an alarm that something was amiss? Despite all the evidence flooding social media and a blank stat sheet, why was Elijah put back on the ground during the final quarter? Did any of the on-field leaders notice anything unusual? If reports are correct that teammates refused to pass the ball to Elijah, well, why didn't these leaders speak up and raise the alarm? And as mentioned earlier, why didn't Graham Wright make it his first port of call to speak to Collingwood players after the game? And here's one directed to the AFL. The ARC. It's a safeguard to make sure anyone who sustains a concussion can be taken off the ground and be seen to. Did nobody in the AFL's ARC notice anything unusual with Elijah Hollands? For Hollands to be out on the ground in the state he was in, it's akin to leaving somebody out on the ground with a concussion. Why didn't the independent doctors from the AFL alert somebody from Carlton? Thursday's events were a combination of major neglect on a welfare level and a gross incompetence on a coaching level. Michael Voss's job was already in severe jeopardy based on his pure win-loss record. But his position is now completely untenable following the events of Thursday night. Heads need a roll, and the first head that needs to go is Michael Voss.